Acting Police Minister Firoz Cachalia will visit the Westbury mass shooting victims and their families today. 2 people were killed and 3 others, including a 15-month-old baby, injured in the attack on Thursday. It is reported that the 5 victims were at the corner of Westbury Court and Jacaranda Court when they were attacked by an unknown number of suspects. The motive for the shooting is unknown, and police are investigating 2 counts of murder and 3 of attempted murder. No arrests have been made at this stage. This is the second visit by Cachalia to the troubled area in recent months. In November, the acting minister visited Westbury following a spate of deadly shootings that were linked to gang violence. So those are live visuals that you currently are seeing now with the minister coming out of the Sophia Town Police Station. Let's take you to our reporter, Juliet Joseph. Juliet, a very good morning to you. The minister certainly has his work cut out for him with Westbury, this being the second time around in a very short space of time.
That's correct. A very good morning to you, Cachalia, and absolutely, I mean, Acting Police Minister Firoz Cachalia was just inside to get a briefing from the officers that are investigating the case, which he just came out now. We're going to just quickly step in and ask him, Minister, what were you told from the investigators on this case that resulted in the death of 2 people and others still injured, including a 15-month-old baby?
So I'm accompanied with the Deputy Provincial Commissioner. The Provincial Commissioner is en route. I had a briefing from the head of the anti-gang unit, from crime intelligence, from the detectives, and of course from the Deputy Provincial Commissioner. And I've got a strong sense of, I understand what happened. The briefing had a lot of information about the incident and about ongoing investigations. We also looked at what else must be done to strengthen our response to the gangs. And I've asked the Deputy Provincial Commissioner for a report in 2 weeks' time on the further steps that need to be taken, because it was clear that not all the components of the criminal justice system, the prosecutors, the SIU, the asset forfeiture unit, the prosecutors are actually involved. The police at the moment in Gauteng meet every Wednesday, but it's just the South African Police Service. So I think that that is going to be an important next step. Strengthening the anti-gang units. I think they are under-resourced. So if we're going to get control of this problem, we have to look at whether the level of resourcing of the anti-gang units is sufficient. That's a conversation I need to have with the National Commissioner. I mean, these resources, we are being stretched, but I'm going to have to see whether it's possible to strengthen the anti-gang units. And I expect in 2 weeks' time, unfortunately, I'm going to be in the Western Cape for parliamentary business the whole of next week. And the following week, I also have a full diary. But I'm planning when I get back to receive this report. And also, I think it's going to be important to convene community structures, those who are dealing with alcohol abuse, and other community structures. There are community structures that deal with the problem of excessive liquor, the number of taverns and so forth. So I want to convene a meeting of those community structures in all the affected areas, bring them all together and have a conversation with them about how, what role the community can play in supporting these increased efforts to deal with the problem of gang violence. It's very heartbreaking. Here we have a 15-year-old child who died, who's injured. The mother passed away. I am going to visit the baby girl at Chalok.
And Minister, we understand that following the President's SONA address, where he mentioned that the army would be brought in areas that are hot crime spots like Westbury as well as the Western Cape. Has the army been deployed yet within Westbury? I mean, or when? What is the timeline there?
There are parts of the country where deployment has already started. It is going to take a little bit longer than originally expected. And the reason for that is that, you know, people are raising legitimately concerns about the risks associated with deploying the army, because the soldiers are not trained in policing. So we have to ensure that process, you can call it a training process of understanding their role and also the limits of their responsibility, so that we avoid a situation where you know, people are hurt, caught in the line of fire and so forth. So we want to make sure that the army understands its role, and that training is taking place.
Thank you, Minister. Thabiso Khadebe
Hi,
from
Thabiso.
SABC News.
Yeah.
In terms of investigations, how far are you in terms of investigations, the incident that happened during the week?
So I'm not going to go into detail about ongoing investigations. I did get a report on an ongoing investigation, whether or not there are suspects and so forth. I can say that the police are making they're making progress. They've got good information, but I don't want to discuss this matter further in public.
Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank
James
you.
from the
Hi, James.
PDFM. Thank you so much. Now, only last month, the anti-gang unit had a meeting with the anti-gang unit with community members within the Westbury community.
Yes.
One of the questions was, how can the police better police these communities? That was a question from Brigadier Makoto. And one of the suggestions by community members was food patrol in these communities,
Yes.
in the Westbury community. Is that happening because the meeting was held last month?
I had a meeting, what we call a MINMAC, a meeting with all the provincial MECs yesterday in the Western Cape, where one of the main subjects under discussion was to establish patroller initiatives in those areas where they don't exist, and we're exploring funding models. I'm very much in favor of supporting the patrollers with stipends, with training and so forth. And I mean, already in this province, Premier Lesufi has introduced these traffic wardens, but in these areas where we don't yet have patrollers, that is something we need to look at. So it's a priority for me. I want to, of course, it costs a lot of money. We have to find a proper and sustainable funding source, and that is what was under discussion yesterday. And I asked the provincial MECs, who will report back at the following MINMAC in about 4 months' time, because they will have the primary responsibility for implementing a patroller program. When I was the MEC in Gauteng, I saw that it worked very well. It was being implemented by the Provincial Department of Community Safety, but what I'm looking at is whether there's a matching source of funding at national level. This program can be funded from the provincial budget, and then we have to look at things like proper training and so forth. But it's definitely something that's high up on my priority list.
Lastly, Minister, last year when you came to the community, there was an issue about gang-related violence happening within our schools also, which is something that you also got to comment on. In terms of fighting gang-related violence within the school premises, is that happening? What is the Department of, the Minister of Police and the Department of Education are doing in fighting that?
One of the trends that we're seeing, including in this incident, is that young people, and increasingly younger people, including from schools, are being recruited into these gangs. That is the vulnerability arises from the fact that in our communities, there's a high level of unemployment. Young people need sources of income and opportunity. That's absent. That tells you that what we need is an all-government approach. We can't just rely on law enforcement. And it's very clear in the areas that are affected by gangs, in the Western Cape, in the Eastern Cape, in Gauteng, there are about 8 areas in Gauteng. The main problem is that there's underinvestment in these communities. There are the socio-economic problems. So, you know, part of my responsibility is to engage with the ministers of education, of higher education, and basic education. They themselves are trying to engage me constantly on the problems of safety and security in the schools. There's a bullying problem and so forth. But it's very difficult. We can't solve these problems with the police. These are socioeconomic problems. They're social fabric problems that are entrenched, that are deep. All I can say is that we need to work together with our people, with our communities, to improve their lives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Are we still going to meet the families this morning and also
Yes.
the community leaders, because there has to be those engagements?
There was no prior notification of the community leaders. So what I've said about that, because you're quite right that that's needed, it has been occurring from time to time, but what I'm planning to do when I come back in 2 weeks' time is to try and bring the community structures and leaders together from all these affected communities so that we can emerge with a plan for community involvement in addressing the problems of anti-gang violence. I have decided that I will visit Rihanna Stewart, the baby in the hospital, whose mother is deceased, but perhaps not visit the families that are actually involved in gang violence. It was a judgment call in a way. I mean, I am very saddened by the fact that these young men were involved in a shooting incident. In both cases, the one in Landlaagte and here, you know, they were sitting outside and then attacked. So it's very sad, but I think maybe I'll be sending the wrong message. So I will go and see the baby girl who was also unfortunately injured. Yeah.
Minister, without giving too much away, because obviously you did say you can't unveil much, do you have any leads, or do the police have any leads with regards to the suspects?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Thank you, Minister. Prof, any plans in terms of beefing up security in this particular area? We understand that there's an issue of police visibility. Community
Look, when the army is deployed, it will have to focus on the areas that are affected by the gang violence. And in other areas, the focus is going to be on the on illegal mining. That's where we want to deploy the army to give the police. It's a stabilization strategy. It's not going to solve the problem. So in the meantime, we have to strengthen the policing response to this long existing problem of gang violence. And I've discussed with the Deputy Provincial Commissioner certain proposals. I expect them to go back and refine those proposals. I've mentioned some of them: strengthening the anti-gang units, making sure that the police are working together with the prosecutors, with the SIU, with the asset forfeiture unit and so forth. That is absent. That is not sufficient. There are certain other problems. I've been told, for instance, that that there's problems with the Boksburg court. The police feel that they're not getting sufficient cooperation from the prosecutor there. There's a proposal that we should establish a special court for to deal with the anti-gang strategy. That's obviously something I have to discuss with the Minister of Justice, Minister Kubai. It's not always easy to establish specialist courts because you require resources to do that. You know, she's got a limited budget, and often the judiciary is skeptical about such proposals. But the police said to me today that they think that we need a specialist court, and I will be discussing that matter with Minister Kubai.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Cachalia, just one for you, sir. How's the manhunt going, and when can we expect some arrests?
No, we can't give time frame. As we indicated, we are following up leads, and we are positive. We will be able to capture those who are involved. That's all what we can say.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much.
Minister.
Police management talking to us about
Katlego, that was the minister, but there are still, people that want to still engage with the minister in terms of the residents outside here at Sophia Town Police Station. As you heard, the minister was inside with the police investigating the matter to get a brief or a sense of how far they are with the investigation. He could not reveal much. However, he did tell us that they do have leads, so they've got some way to start from in investigating or bringing the perpetrators to book that attacked the 5 people. That includes a 15-month-old baby that the minister will also be visiting at the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital. Another one also still recovering from the hospital, and also that we also understand he'll be visiting the families. As you do know, there has been a lot of gang violence within the Westbury area. So the minister saying that the teams will be strengthened here to make sure that they go into the communities. Yesterday you heard from the police commissioner, Tommy Mtombeni, also saying that there will be 2 units, specialized units that will be dealing. Okay, there is somebody who is not happy here.
Meeting that we had the last time here at JMPD. This is what we come and do here. It's sensation early in the morning that this is the only thing. Those families are crying. The families are crying. Now he must go to a hospital. He must go and visit elsewhere. Why don't you approach the family and the residents of Westbury and surrounding areas that is undergoing this turmoil every day? We said that we are bringing in the army. Where's the army? When is the army coming? This cannot be the order of the day that the minister come here for five minutes. Ward 82 is my ward. Sophia Town Police Station is my ward. They are being disrespectful. I've been calling them from 7 o'clock this morning because we saw this notice going out. This cannot be right.
Tell us about your concern, Mama.
Our concern is that the army needs to come in because our children are dying on the streets of Westbury every day prematurely. Eldorado Park, all other areas. This cannot be the order of the day that he comes here with this whole entourage here and not doing anything. Going to visit a baby in a hospital. What about the families in Westbury that is waiting for the minister? There's a notice that went out to say that the minister will be here. This is wrong what they are doing.
What have they done since last year?
They have done absolutely nothing. Let them come for me. I said it. They have done nothing. We are angry, and our colored people in this area is not angry enough. We are not angry enough. This is not right.
But Mama, the issue of crime is not about colour.
A very upset resident saying that they've been bringing their issues to the police station and to the minister, but they've not received any help from the officers. And ma'am, what would you hope that Westbury, sorry ma'am, what would you hope the police to do, the police minister?
The minister should have gone out to go and support that family. She's speaking about he's going to visit a baby in hospital. We've got a young boy, Reese. I cannot get to his surname. He passed on, innocent boy. He matriculated last year. Where's his life? His life is gone. Huh?
So you came all this way to hope the minister does something about it. Were you aware the minister's coming, ma'am?
I heard from a community group that the minister is coming out. Nobody is. They're disrespecting us in our community. They can say what they want to.
Oh, Katlego, as you heard,
They had a briefing here.
Yes, as you heard, Katlego, they're very, very upset residents saying that they've been reaching out to the minister on other matters. However, they've had they grievances rather have landed on deaf ears. I mean, the minister was here to find out or further investigate the case where 5 people were attacked at Jacaranda Court in Westbury. 3, all of them were shot, and 2 now have passed on. 3 remain injured, including a baby that's 15-month-old in hospital. But Westbury, as you heard, is very famous for a lot of gang violence, which police have been trying to really make their ways into helping out the community and fixing it. You heard yesterday, Police Commissioner for Gauteng, Tommy Mtombeni, did say that 2 specialized units will be in the area to try and combat crime there. 1 unit focusing more on political assassinations and the other focusing more on kidnappings and other matters. We also heard President Cyril Ramaphosa talking about the deployment of the army into areas such as Westbury. The acting police minister, Firoz Cachalia, now telling us that the army is not yet there, and it's going to take some time for the army to be deployed there. But right now, we are moving to where the families are, Katlego.
Yeah, well, quite concerning scenes there, watching the minister drive off, of course, to that visit to that baby. And what he did say was that it's the social fabric problems